What's up guys, Kyle here again, and today we're gonna play these two amps together. Let's do it. Alright, hope you guys are doing great out there today. If this is your first time here at my channel, my name is Kyle, and what I do is I take awesome high gain amplifiers, cabinets, overdrives, guitars, and pickups. I record them with a simple SM57 setup, and I give you guys the unprocessed audio on your end. So if you're into E standard thrash riffs, drop C hardcore riffs, and dudes that are going deaf way too early, you're in the right place. Consider hitting that like button on the way out and subscribing so you don't miss anything else. Thanks! So for today's Belligerence in stereo, I decided that I was going to employ the two most legendary amps, at least when it comes to hardcore, high gain hardcore tones. These two amps are the two that you would most commonly see used in conjunction with each other. Whether you have two guitarists playing in the same band, or you have one guitarist that's running a stereo rig, as I often do, these two are kind of the legendary pairing, or the most common amps that you would see running in stereo for that type of stuff. So since I only have the 2-channel rectifier for a few more days, I figured, you know what, we definitely have to pair these two together and hear how they sound. Again, these videos are for fun. I'm not gonna be messing around with settings too much. I'm just gonna be dialing in some good tones, playing some riffs, and letting you guys hear how they sound in stereo. I will play them both by themselves just so you can hear how I have them dialed in, and then I'll put them together and you guys can just see how well they fill out each other's frequencies. Whatever the 5150 is missing, the Mesa makes up for, and vice versa. They're a great pair for running together, especially if you're the only guitarist and you're trying to kind of fill out all frequencies. They do a killer job of that. So real quick, I'm gonna run you through my signal chain for right now. The guitar that I'm using is a Schecter PT Evil Twin. This is a neck-through guitar. It has the Fishman Fluence modern pickups in it, and I have them set on the passive setting for right now. Down here, as you can see on my pedal board, this whole Frankenstein thing that I have thrown together, as I kind of just tried to fit as much stuff on the board as I can for today's demo. We've got the Deadweld Golem with all of these overdrive pedals in the loop of the Golem, so that is why everything is super quiet right now. The Golem does a great job of gating the front end and also gating everything that is in the loop of the pedals. So we've got a Pepper's Dirty Tree, a Walrus Ages, an Electric Eye Mud Killer, and a Poison Noises Narc Boost. We're gonna run through each one of those and just kind of see how each one suits each amp. And at some point I'll probably switch a guitar just to get some different tones out of it. But yeah, that's what we got going on. Over here we have an early 2-channel Mesa dual rectifier with 6L6 power tubes. For the cabinet, we have a 2005 Mesa oversized rectifier cab with V30s in it, and I also have DV77s on this side. For the cab, we have a 2005 Mesa rectifier oversized slant cab. It's got V30s on the left side, and over here, I have a mic on the DV77 that I currently have installed on the right side of the cab. Over here, we've got the PV5150 signature head going through a Marshall MF280 cab with an SM57 on the Vintage 30 speaker. So I think that's pretty much everything. With that being said, I'm just going to play them one by one, and then I will put them together and play them in stereo. We'll start with the rectifier first. The Dirty Tree is currently engaged. We will start with the rectifier first. The Dirty Tree is currently engaged. $51.50. Okay, so those two sound incredible together. The Mesa, definitely not as sizzly on top. The way that I have it set, I'm on the vintage channel on it, and I have the treble dialed back to 0. What that does is it kind of broadens the mids out, and then I've used the presence to kind of add some treble back in. But overall, this one is going to sound rounder, it's going to sound fuller in the mids, and it's going to have more low end. It's going to be a little bit more dry on the gain, as I do not have the gain pushed up very high, because the 5150 will make up for that. The 5150, I have the gain at about 3. I've got the low end turned up quite a bit, as well as the resonance at 7, because for some reason the cabinet over on this side of the room, it doesn't seem to resonate as much on the low end. I noticed that in the Omega video as well, so I kind of have to pump the low end over here a little bit more. But the mids are at 6. I've got the highs dialed back to 4 to take off a little bit of that sizzle, and then I've got the presence dialed up to kind of brighten the amp back up a little bit. So that's what we're working with. Those are our settings. I've also got the Peepers Dirty Tree engaged because it does a great job of tightening the amps without removing all the bass frequencies, and I can dial the highs back. This is a very bright guitar, so I could dial the highs back a little bit, really tighten up both amps. It's currently on the TC side, so we'll put it on the Dirty Tree side if we go to a passive guitar a little later on that's a little darker. But yeah, it's a great boost for both of these amps. It just sounds incredible like that. It sounds so good. I'm gonna kick off the Dirty Tree. We're gonna kick in the Electric Eye. Let's try the Narc. The Narc is a new one to me from Poison Noises. Let's see how that sounds. All right. That sounds great. That thing has a lot of upper mid presence. It adds a lot of output considering how hot the TC is. That sounds really good. All right, E standard, Narc is engaged. Well, that sounds awesome. I really don't feel like I need to touch much. Let's pull a little bit of presence off the Peavey. Let's add a little bit of bass, a little bit of mid, and take off a little presence from the Rectifier. Super punchy low end right now. All right, so that sounds really good. It's a little bit bright. Let's turn down the squeak or the tone on the pedal a little bit. That's a great sounding overdrive. All right, that sounds fantastic, guys. I really feel like the Mesa, when you dial it this way anyways, it really has a lot more mids than people give it credit for. It's not super scoopy when you dial that treble back down to 0, but if we dial it up and pull that presence back, let's hear how that sounds. Makes it definitely sound more low, mid, heavy, a little bit more scoopy overall, and a lot bigger in the low end, so I'm going to roll the bass back a little bit more. So that definitely fattens up the Mesa quite a bit. It makes it a big lot scoopier. It makes it big lot scoopy. It makes it a lot scoopier and just a lot, it's a little meaner sounding. It's not as raw and in your face though. So I'm gonna go back to the way it was because that's personally how I think it sounds the best. All right guys, so we've got the Belligerence Typhon here. All right, so that sounds really, really good. These pickups and this guitar are definitely darker overall and fatter. So let's go over to something like the Mud Killer, where we know that it's going to tighten things up pretty considerably. Let's hear how that sounds. All right, so it is much tighter. The Mud Killer does not add as much gain as the other two, so let's add a little gain on the Mesa, and let's also add a tad bit of presence. Oh, that's a great punchy low end. Both amps sound really good. Again, the Mesa just kind of fills out what the Peavey's missing. The Peavey adds that sizzly saturation and the super punchy low end. The Mesa's bigger overall sounding and bigger in the lows, but it just has a nice fullness to the mids the way that it's dialed, that both amps just sound great together. Really, really good sounding. I'm gonna add just a tiny little bit more mid from this pedal. This whole rig sounds great. A little bit more tightness from the Mud Killer. Again, let's hear them one on their own. Here's the Rectifier. Oh man, that sounds great. All right, over to the 5150. Classic Peavey 5150, kind of that cocktail mid sound as a lot of people described it. It's just got this upper mid sweep thing going on that just, it makes it stand out in a mix and it makes it sound so mean, a little bit nasally, but overall, like I said, the complement of the two amps just sounds incredible. Really enjoying this, guys. The last thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna kick in the Walrus Ages. This is a very high output and a very fat sounding overdrive. So let's see how much different that sounds than what we just had dial in. We're gonna turn that bass down, we're gonna turn the treble up. I'm having way too much fun with this demo, guys, or whatever the hell you wanna call it. It's fun for me. I'm having a good time! Oh, guys, come on! That sounds super, super good. All right, let's tune this down to drop D. All right, so let's go back over to the Dirty Tree and let's kick it in on the Dirty Tree side, which is going to be really bright. So to me, it sounds way too mid-heavy. Let's pull the mids back. Let's put the rectifier kind of on its normal mode here. And let's go over to the 5150. Let's actually pull the mids back a little bit. Let's bump the lows. Let's pull that presence back. You can't lose here, guys. This just sounds really, really good. Narc one more time. I'll play one more riff, and then we'll call it a day. But this has been a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys see how well these amps work in unison together and why they have been so long a standard to pair together just for heavy, aggressive styles of music. They just work and sync together so perfectly, just filling out all the frequencies that each other lacks. It's just such a great pair. So I'm having a lot of fun. Alright guys, that was a blast for me. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Do you think that this is the legendary pairing to go to for aggressive styles of music? Or do you have other stuff that you prefer? I'm really curious to hear what you guys thought about these two amps paired together. Leave a comment and I'll meet you down there to talk about it. In the description of this video are all my support links, including my Sweetwater affiliate link. Click that link, get yourself something nice from the fine folks at Sweetwater, and I get a little kickback. It greatly helps the channel grow. Or click the link to my Patreon and consider supporting the page that way. Pretty soon I'm going to be giving away IRs of my own personal cabinets and stuff like that to my Patreon members, so you guys don't want to miss that. Also consider becoming a member of the Belligerent Amateur community by joining my Discord server, my Facebook group, all down below in the description, as I said. Kyle here again. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.